is really writing the script for your AI? It's a great question, isn't it? I mean, we're constantly told that autonomous systems are replacing human creativity, that these machines are just effortlessly generating brilliant text out of thin air. But honestly, there is a pretty wild, unexpected reality hiding behind the curtain of this technological marvel. You see, the supposedly autonomous AI systems that are displacing human workers, well, they're secretly being powered by the very humans they just displaced.
We're looking at a seriously jarring contrast today. On one side, you have the glossy, high-tech surface of AI's rapid rise in the entertainment industry, the classic Hollywood glamour. But then on the flip side, you have the gritty, precarious gig work that displaced professionals are actually doing right now just to survive. It's this stark gap between the futuristic promises coming out of Silicon Valley and the actual, boots-on-the-ground gig work happening today. The crucial point here is captured perfectly in this phenomenal first-person expose recently published by Wired. The quote reads, "I work in Hollywood. Everyone who used to make TV is now training AI." Just let that sink in for a second. It is a deeply ironic shift in the modern economy. The creatives who once crafted our absolute favorite television shows haven't just disappeared. They've been quietly absorbed into the exact same machine that disrupted their industry in the first place. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into this ironic, human-powered underbelly of the AI revolution, using direct accounts from the front lines to understand how Hollywood writers ended up as gig workers and what this actually means for the broader global workforce. Section 1. The AI Hollywood Takeover. To really understand how we got to this point, we need to wind the clock back slightly to see exactly how this massive collision between Silicon Valley tech and Hollywood creatives actually began. So in late 2025, the industry saw a massive flare-up when talent agencies actually explored representing an AI-generated actress named Tilly Norwood. Now, as you'd expect, this immediately sparked industry-wide anxieties and strikes. Yet, despite all that pushback, by 2026, the dust had settled in a very unexpected way. Displaced writers quietly found themselves doing data annotation just to train the next generation of models. Top human performers instantly recognized the threat. Actors like Emily Blunt and Natasha Lyonne sharply criticized the whole exploration of the AI actress, calling it frightening and misguided. And you can see why, right? The fear wasn't just about the technology itself. It was a direct threat to human livelihoods and the fundamental craft of acting and writing. Section 2. Writers become AI gig workers. What actually happens to these highly skilled creatives after the algorithms step in and take their primary jobs? Well, unemployed Hollywood professionals are quietly turning to AI data annotation. According to the Wired expose, they're taking jobs on platforms like Mercare and Outlier. They are quite literally spending their days feeding data, correcting text, and refining algorithms for the exact same models that made their primary careers obsolete. Talk about a plot twist. And look, this work isn't glamorous at all. Reports highlight a highly precarious environment defined by chaotic management and sudden, completely unannounced project cancellations. Perhaps most alarmingly, workers are experiencing drastically dropping wages. It's essentially faceless labor with absolutely zero job security. It is a far, far cry from the union-protected writers' rooms of the past. To really grasp the irony of those dropping wages, just look at this number: $60 billion. While the human workers training the AI are seeing their pay plummet, company valuations are just astronomical. Take, for example, the reported $60 billion SpaceX acquisition of the AI coding platform Cursor. The disconnect between the immense wealth generated at the top and the gig wages paid to the human engine at the bottom is simply massive. Section 3. The broader job displacement. Now, this dynamic is definitely not an isolated Hollywood story. Let's zoom out a bit to see how this trend is sweeping across multiple global industries. A prime example of this harsh reality is the global translation industry. Generative AI adoption has rapidly gutted this sector. Machine translation models have ruthlessly undercut human linguists worldwide, essentially replacing highly nuanced, culturally sensitive human work with cheaper, automated outputs. A recent CNN report highlights the massive damage here. 34% of translators have lost work entirely, and another 45% have seen their income significantly reduced. Think about that for a second. That means nearly 80% of an entire global profession has been severely economically impacted by generative AI adoption in just an incredibly short window of time. And this leads us to a really jarring paradox in the corporate world. Record corporate profits standing shoulder to shoulder with mass tech layoffs. A TechCrunch analysis notes that major tech companies are posting massive financial gains while simultaneously blaming AI for tens of thousands of job cuts. It's a fundamental restructuring of the workforce, and it's often just framed as inevitable technological progress. Section 4, the intense AI work culture. So, what about the people who haven't been laid off? Well, for the engineers and developers actually building these systems, it is becoming an absolute psychological pressure cooker. 72. That is the number of hours per week that employees are being pushed to work in the current AI race. Tech firms are so desperate to outpace their rivals, deploy new products, and monetize these models that they are forcing their workforce into grueling, completely unsustainable schedules. We're seeing the aggressive adoption of the infamous 99-6 work culture. If you're not familiar, that means working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. According to BBC reports, this intense schedule is rapidly becoming the gold standard for AI startups. The race to the top of the AI food chain is essentially being fueled by sheer human exhaustion. This completely debunks a major myth out there, the idea that AI just automatically makes our jobs easier. A Berkeley Haas study of 200 tech employees found the exact opposite. While AI tools might increase raw output, they actually cause unsustainable work intensity and severe cognitive load. The remaining employees are just exhausted, trying to manage complex AI outputs on top of their normal day-to-day duties. Section 5, the illusion of autonomy. All of this human burnout, from the Hollywood gig workers down to the exhausted tech engineers, leads us to a very uncomfortable truth about the technology itself. Critics are really starting to call this out. TechCrunch notes, quote, AI is merely a convenient excuse for corporate overhiring and mismanagement. They argue the technology is frequently being used as a scapegoat to justify massive organizational shifts, leaving a huge wake of displaced workers facing a tough economy, all while a very small cohort amasses unprecedented wealth. Pulling all these threads together, what we are really looking at is a massive displaced human engine powering the AI era. You have Hollywood writers reduced to gig work, data annotation, professional translators losing their contracts entirely, and the remaining tech workers pushed to the absolute brink of cognitive exhaustion. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take away from this explainer today. If the generative AI future is supposedly so brilliant, so capable, and so completely autonomous, why is it entirely dependent on the precarious, low-wage gig labor of the very human beings it just replaced? Thanks for joining me, and definitely keep questioning the systems being built around us.